still a truth, no matter how many people disbelieve it. And a lie is still a lie, no matter how many people believe it. Back in caveman days, before mathematics was understood, 2 plus 2 equals 4. Even if you didn't know anything about mathematics, mathematics exists somewhere in the ethers, only a matter of time until the human brain wraps itself around it. But even before mathematics was even cognized, even before mathematics was even remotely thought of as a possibility, 2 plus 2 always equals 4, always equaled 4, and it always will, even if you don't know anything about mathematics. Well, it's the same with anything that is in the realm of truth. Anything that is in the truth zone is true, regardless of how many people disbelieve it. And this is where we are with our exposition of science-based, clinically verified health recovery protocols developed and delivered by licensed and regulated naturopathic physicians, the only physicians in the world who are licensed and regulated, licensed and regulated, licensed and regulated. This is not some fly-by-night, seat-of-your-pants medical training I'm talking about. This is fully recognized by the United States Department of Education, fully licensed in 17 states. This is what we bring to the table. Therapeutics that have been proven to be effective in clinical settings, delivered and developed by licensed and regulated physicians who are members of an elite profession in the United States, the only medical profession that trains their doctors in the knowledge, understanding, and delivery of alternatives to drug and surgical treatments. Not that there's anything wrong with drug and surgical treatments when they're used appropriately, but the way that MDs use drug and surgery treatments, they've become the leading cause of bankruptcy and the leading cause of death. And if you don't have a problem with that, you're simply not paying attention. Now, 2 plus 2 equals 4. It does not equal 5, no matter how much you wish it would. Your medical doctor does not know what's best for you, no matter how much you wish they would. Your MD does not know what's best for you, no matter what Dr. Oz tells you. Your MD only knows what your MD has been trained in. And what your MD has been trained in is just one small piece of the pie of medical science, one eeny-weeny-teeny piece of the pie of medical science. The pharmaceutical industry has done a very, very good job of convincing you through some type of cultural conditioning. Maybe they have a mind control device. I don't know. Maybe they do. Seems to me that something like that must be going on, because otherwise, why would so many people believe in the myth of the MD? I mean, at some point in time, it borders, it's bordered on the absurd for the last 50 years, but most people don't recognize it. They don't understand it. And they believe in the idiocy of MD-directed medical therapeutics for the treatment of chronic disease. And again, it's very important that we understand here that I'm not against the MDs. I'm against ineffective, old-fashioned, out-of-date, for-profit, monopolistic, short-sighted medical therapeutics. That's what I'm against. If MDs want to come into the light of naturopathic medicine, homeopathic medicine, herbal medicine, more the merrier. There's lots of room to spread out and a lot of people you can help. But the training of an MD, the professional clinical training of an MD, does not train the MD in medicine. Nobody is trained in medicine. The MD is trained in allopathic reductionism. I'm trained in naturopathic holism. Allopathic reductionism, the training of an MD, and naturopathic holism, the training of a naturopathic physician, are diametrically opposed. They are polar opposites, like right and left, up and down, right and wrong. Allopathic reductionism is best only suited, quite frankly, I'm not going to say best suited, it's only suited for ailments which affect a part of the body. Like you got a bullet in your arm, heaven forbid. You got your leg broken, heaven forbid. You got an artery that's bleeding, heaven forbid. You got a piece of shrapnel in your kneecap, heaven forbid. illnesses which affect a part of the body in a traumatic way are in the domain of allopathic reductionism, because allopathic reductionism argues that the body is a machine made of parts and it's the doctor's job to attend to each piece of the body. Attend to each piece of the body and while attending to that piece, to deliver surgical remedies and pharmaceutical remedies. The intention of the pharmaceutical remedy and notwithstanding trauma, the intention of the surgical remedy is not to fix the problem but to manage the problem. So the root cause of the arthritis is never fixed, but the knee that's arthritic is removed and a man-made titanium knee is put in its place. This is why MD-directed allopathic reductionism is so unbelievably expensive. This is why the economies of Canada and the United States and the European Union are being crushed by medical care, because it's not medical care, it's disease management. It's not medical MDs, bless their hearts. I mean, they might be the nicest people on the planet, but they don't practice healthcare. They practice disease management and symptom suppression through the delivery of man-made synthetic drugs and surgical procedures. 99% of the time, the intention of the procedures are not to fix anything, just to manage and medicate the symptoms. So the arthritic condition is never fixed, but the arthritic joint is removed until it gets so bad that you need another fake knee, and then another fake knee, and then another fake knee, and then guess what? It spreads to the other knee, and then guess what? It spreads to the shoulder, and then guess what? It spreads to the spine, and then you die with 5 fake joints in your body, hundreds of thousands of dollars of medical bills, and your relatives, grief-stricken, are so enrolled in the lie of Western pharmaceutical, allopathic, reductionistic medicine that they organize a 5K run on your behalf to give more money to arthritis research. You've got to be kidding me. This is the upside-down, inside-out, topsy-turvy world in which we live, ladies and gentlemen. Which is why I named this radio show Fire Your MD Now, because that is what I want you to do. Fire your MD now. There is no reason on God's green earth for you ever to darken the door of someone with an MD after their name unless you're bleeding to death, unless you have a trauma to your body, unless you're suffering with a nasty infectious disease that has not yielded to holistic treatment. My brother developed a nasty cough a month ago. Forget how that happened, but it happened nonetheless. I think there was something going around the town that he lived in. We tried a number of things, didn't work. Got a little bit better, but nothing really of any substance. And so guess what? I recommended antibiotics. He took antibiotics for 5 days in addition to the 90 essential nutrients and everything else, and voila, the lung infection went away. It's gone. It's not the drug, it's how it's used. When MDs use drugs, most of the time, the intention is not to cure anything, but to manage your symptoms. And this is what we have become culturally conditioned to accept as the best medicine the world has to offer. Machiavellian, the ends justify the means, symptom suppression through unbelievably expensive allopathic pharmaceutical medicine. Delivered by your erstwhile friend in the white coat with the stethoscope around their neck. Oh, Marcus Welby, so great. Oh, Hawkeye Pierce, so great. Oh, George Clooney, so great. These TV shows are, I think, part of the cultural conditioning. I think there's got to be something else going on, though. There's got to be something else going on because the MDs screw it up so much. There has to be something leveraging our psychological state. There has to be some type of psyops program going on here, keeping us beholden to the myth of the MD. I mean, there must be, because they screw up all the time. All of the time. All of the time they screw up, and they're still in the driver's seat. And when we have a conversation, a cultural conversation, a government conversation about what to do about the medical system, and nobody ever even whispers the word, fire the MDs. Oh, no, we can't abandon the system. We have to tweak the system. The system is fine. It's the best system of medicine in the world. No, it's not. It's the worst system of medicine in the world for chronic disease. One of these times we're all going to snap out of it. 2 + 2 does not equal 5. The drug companies have convinced us for the last 100 years that 2 + 2 does equal 5. And that the older you get, the sicker you get. That taking pharmaceutical medicines to manage your health is just part of the deal. You just have to calculate that into the equation and plan for it. Having your father or your mother lose their mind is just a part of the deal now. You have to calculate that into the equation and plan for it. Losing all your teeth, losing all your hair, needing hearing aids, not being able to breathe, having an erratically beating heart, having to need bronchodilators just to breathe, needing medicine in order to pee normally. All of these things are the new normal now. Because the older we get, the sicker we get. Well, under MD care, the older we get, the sicker we get. That much is true. But with holistic medicine, the older you get, the healthier you get. You reach a plateau of optimal health, and you stay there. You reach a plateau of optimal health, and you stay there. It's only a matter of time, ladies and gentlemen, before Youngevity Nation worldwide, pops into the frontal cortex, into the consciousness of the world, because you can't keep the truth down. You can't do it. You can try, and you can delay the inevitable, but the inevitable is the truth will out. It always does. It's only a matter of time until Youngevity Nation pops into the consciousness of everybody in the world. And where are you going to be when that happens? Are you going to be at the back of the bus, or are you going to be at the front of the bus? Join us today. FireYourMDNow.com. Join Youngevity with Team Glidden, and I will look forward to marching into a bright, bold future side by side. Stick around. Health education beyond compare is only a mouse click away. Health education beyond compare is only a mouse click away, and yours for the ridiculously low price of $20 a month. Cancel at any time. Buy a year's subscription, and we give you 2 months free. Check it out. FireYourMDNow.com. FireYourMDNow.com. Scroll to the bottom of the page and check out Dr. Glidden's online subscription service, where you will have immediate access to 100+ hours of archived health webinars and 4 live hours of health webinars at the tips of your fingers. Tonight's live webinar, 8 o'clock Central Time to 9 o'clock Central Time, live chat with yours truly. We've got people from all over the world on our live chats now, people from all over the world. The chat room currently can only handle 100 people, 99 plus me. Can only handle 99 people plus me, and they're filling up all the time. So if you're interested in getting on board with the chat tonight, if you're already a Dr. Glidden Insider, I would recommend you show up about 15 minutes early and just save your spot. Log in, kick back, and save your spot. And if you're a brand new listener and you want to stick your toe in the water, just buy a subscription. You don't like it? Well, you're going to have to cancel it at the end of the month. $20. I could find $20 in 1 month. Check it out. Become an insider right now at FireYourMDNow.com. For goodness sake, what are you waiting for? Gangrene? Because that's what's going to happen if you let the MDs keep telling you what to do. As God is my witness, fire your medical doctor now. Let's go to Michigan and talk to Harry about Addison's disease, I think. Hey, Harry, thanks for the phone call. You are live.
Hello, Dr. Glidden. How are you today?
Good, thanks, Harry. Hey, Harry, talk up a little bit. Your signal's coming in a little weak, if you could, please.
Is this any better now?
It's a little better, Harry. It's a little better.
Okay. Can you hear me now, as they would say?
Yeah, that's much better, Harry. You just fixed it.
Okay, good. Well, I followed your protocol for a little over 3.5 months. And I've noticed that I've gained some weight back since my hospital stay in June, actually early June, and so I've gained about 18 pounds. Blood tests are showing that I'm doing okay, but I'm still taking the 40 milligrams of hydrocortisone a day.
Okay, so remind the radio audience, please, of what was happening before you met us, and kind of knock it down for everybody, and kind of give us the cliff notes of what happened to you and how you were feeling before you met us.
Well, before I met you folks, I noticed the symptoms coming on, and they were shortness of breath, extreme fatigue, vomiting. Basically, the adrenal glands were not working, and I still don't know if they are or aren't. But at that point, before I started your protocol, I was very weak. It's 161 pounds, now I'm up to 180. And I'm feeling strong. I'm able to work 50 hours a week again. At that time, I could barely walk around the block. Okay.
Yeah. What happened to the What happened to the shortness of breath, Harry?
Well, like I said, I still feel a little tired. I'm not going to kid you, but I can, if I can make it through a 50-hour work week where I'm walking and climbing up and down and bending over all the time, I figured it's kind of normal for a 55-year-old person.
Yeah, and what about the vomiting? What happened to that?
Well, that actually went away. Yeah. Actually all of that. I'm feeling pretty good. But here's my question to you, sir.
Yeah.
And that is this. I went off the gluten-free for about a couple of weeks. I finally broke down after 3.5 months, and I was eating a rye bread sandwich every day for the last couple of weeks. But I said, okay, we got to get off of that again.
Well, did you notice any negative effects when you threw the rye back into your life?
In my case, I did not.
It's very interesting. Well, you might not. Rye might be okay for you then. I mean, was it 100% rye bread, or was there wheat flour in it as well as a mix, or don't you know?
Actually, there is a slight wheat flour mix in there. This is a made from in the Detroit area.
Yeah.
They make it but they said there is some wheat flour in there.
Yeah.
And I just said for a couple of weeks, forget about it. I'm going to eat it. I felt okay, but I said, you know what? I'm going right back to the gluten-free. I said, you had your 2 weeks of pleasure. Get back to reality. I'm going to follow your protocol still.
All right. Well, Harry, hold on, buddy. We got up against a hard break. I'll pick you up when we come back from commercial. Ladies and gentlemen, stick around. I'm Dr. Peter Glidden, and this is Fire Your MD Now. Welcome back, everybody. Dr. Peter Glidden here with you Monday. It's October 28th, 2013. Monday, October 28th, 2013. We're talking to Harry from Michigan. Let's get right back to it. Harry, are you still with me?
Yes, sir.
All right. Very, very good. So let's just recap here, Harry. So you had shortness of breath, extreme fatigue, vomiting. You were weak. You were down about 20 pounds. Now you're able to work 50 hours a week again. You've gained 18 pounds back. So you're on the, we're fighting back into health here. So where are you getting stuck now, Harry, and how can I help to fix it?
Well, here's my question. I'm going to stick with this protocol for another month. I don't know. I'm just kidding. I want to get your opinion. In about a month, I was planning on asking the doctor if I could get a blood test, or not a blood test, but a test to see if the adrenal glands are functioning at all, or if this is strictly a phenomenon due to the hydrocortisone.
Well, there's no test that tests for the efficacy of adrenal function. There isn't a test. You can't do it. Now, I mean, they don't exist. Then adrenal failure is a presumptive diagnosis. The only time that you can actually dial that in 100% unequivocally is if you knock somebody out, open their back up, look at the adrenal glands, measure their size, or you could even do it with a CT scan ostensibly, but that's way too much radiation. So really, the only thing that you have to lean on here, Harry, is your subjective experience of your energy and your body. Because, if your adrenal glands are out, then your energy is funky and there's lots of inflammation all over your body. Now, it becomes difficult, especially with prednisone. Are you taking prednisone?
No, hydrocortisone.
Yeah, hydrocortisone. Yeah. It's difficult to tell with hydrocortisone what your health is like, because that's like, You know, you ever been to a rock and roll concert and they have those smoke machines and it, you know, it makes smoke come out over the stage? And, well, when you have hydrocortisone in your body for more than 7 days, it throws up a lot of smoke, and it's a very extreme acting drug. It's a very extreme acting drug. And honestly, you're not going to know what your status quo is until you wean yourself off of that. And you've been off of it for about 21 days. So, given the fact that you're back at work, given the fact that you've gained 18 pounds, now that might be from the hydrocortisone, because that's one of the side effects of that drug is weight gain. My recommendation to you now would be to consult a pharmacist, not an MD. Consult a pharmacist and say, look, I've been on this drug for this long, at this dosage, this is how much I weigh. I'd like to wean myself off and see how I'm doing. How do I do that best and easiest and most appropriately? And the pharmacist will tell you, well, you know, you need to take half of it for 7 days and then half of a half for 7 days or whatever. But they'll be able to give you a reduction schedule that's not going to hurt you. And then you just have to bite the bullet, Harry. You have to walk down that road, slowly wean yourself off of the drug, stay on the diet and the nutritional supplements into the bargain, and just see how you feel. That's the only way that you're going to know, because that drug is kicking up way too much dust right now for you, me, or the doctor, or anybody else to have a clue as to how you really are in a drug-free state. So that's there's no blood test, regretfully, that I'm aware of. I mean, maybe there's a brand new test that they've developed in the last year that I'm not privy to, but I don't think so.
All right, I appreciate that, and that's the way I'll take it then.
Okay, great. Now, there's one more piece of advice here I'd like to give you, and I don't think that you need this advice, but I'm just giving this for people in the listening audience, because you seem to me, Harry, to be very kind of on the ball and, you know, the type of a guy that's just going to do what we tell you to do, and I can trust you 100% to do it. But the problem for the listening audience here, once you get it in your head that you want to come off of a prescription medication, you need to commit to it from start to finish. Now, you know, so let's say it's a 4-week reduction program that you have to go on, right? It's a 4-week reduction of the drugs. Take a little bit less every day, a little bit less every day. Once you start the reduction program, often it's like a roller coaster, and, you know, there's going to be little bumps along the way. If you hit a bump along the way in the reduction schedule, you just have to bite the bullet and maintain the discipline until you get all the way to the end of the dose. Because sometimes, actually, I would say that the vast majority of the time, when somebody is currently doing a science-based, clinically verified medical nutrition support and promote my health program, and they're withdrawing from a drug, when you hit a bump, it's not because of the reappearance of the organic illness. It's a side effect of withdrawing from the drug. So you have to, once you commit to withdrawing from the drug, you have to stay with it all the way to the bitter end, even if you have a bad day here or a bad day there, or 2 bad days here or 2 bad days there, which you might, as a side effect of coming off of the drug, which is different than the organic illness coming back. And the only way that anybody's going to know is once you get to the bitter end and you're drug-free, and you've been drug-free for a couple of weeks, then you know how do you feel and what's your blood work like and what's going on. So once you commit to the reduction schedule, Harry, stick with it no matter what happens. Because if you hit a bump on the road in the reduction schedule and you just wake up and you feel like crap, it's probably going to pass, because it's probably a side effect of withdrawing from the drug, and you just need to, you know, it's kind of like being hungover. You just have to wait until that passes. There's not a whole lot you can do about it. But that's my advice, Harry, and I'm very interested to see what happens to you. Now, remember, one of the things that I recommended was a diet for you that's high in cholesterol.
Yep.
So you want to keep doing that, and I don't really care what the cholesterol source is, but just go crazy for cholesterol, buddy, and give me a call back with a report. I will look forward to it. Keep up the good work in Michigan, Harry. Yeah, it's my pleasure, man. Call back anytime. I appreciate you. All right, well, from Michigan, we're going north to Calgary. How about that? One of my favorite places in North America to talk to Carol from Calgary. Hey, Carol, thanks for the phone call. You are live.
Hi, doctor. Yeah, I'm okay now, but yesterday I went to the hospital because I thought I was having a stroke.
Yikes.
And they performed all sorts of tests, a CT scan,
yeah, I
MRI,
bet they did. Yeah.
And their blood work, and they said everything was normal.
Yeah, well, you should have asked. Oh, you're in Canada, so it doesn't matter. They can't get your money back because it's all socialized. So what did were they able to give you any satisfaction at all about what could possibly be going on?
No, but they did say that I needed to go to follow up at the Heart and Stroke Clinic.
Well, that's nonsense.
But I'm concerned because I had a problem with my vision. It started off with double vision, and then I had a funny crisscross pattern in the top of my eye, looking through my right eye. My jaw was painful, and my tongue had a tingling sensation in my tongue. But it didn't last very long, maybe about an hour, 40 minutes to an hour.
Now, what were you doing that morning or the previous day?
Which is retail sales. So I was in the shop, and I couldn't read some of.
But you hadn't been doing anything different. You hadn't changed your diet or had an extra cup of coffee that morning, or just started exercising and working out the week before, or was there anything new in your life in the previous 2 weeks leading up to this event, or was everything status quo?
My doctor had put me onto a high blood pressure medication.
Boom. There we go.
And had actually changed it to have it in the evenings rather than during the day.
Boom. There you go. So here's what you want to do, right? Where there's smoke, there's fire. And when you hear hoofbeats, what do you think about? Horses before you think about wildebeest, right? You think about the most common things that cause things before you start thinking about weird things like, oh, I had a stroke. I had a thrombocytic stroke. Whatever. I don't think so. Well, so do a Google search for the drug that you're on.
Okay.
And look to see what the side effects are, and I'm going to bet you 25 cents that was the cause of it.
Okay.
That makes sense to me. Now, but I want you to think this through with me, Carol, right? I just think this through, right? So you're having strong and persistent symptoms, and you go to an MD, and they do thousands of dollars of testing on you, and, they do all of the stuff, and, I mean, a monkey could do the test because it's just a flip chart. Well, she comes in with these symptoms, and here's the test that you run. It's standard operating procedure. I mean, a first-year medical student could do it. It's not difficult to, follow a flow chart. So they do all of the tests, and all of the tests come back negative. So then they tell you, well, we don't know what's wrong, but I want you to go to one of my colleagues who's going to do more testing. Well, what more testing could possibly be done? Here, there's not any more testing that could possibly be done. They know that something was up, but they didn't have the intellectual ability to figure it out. So to make themselves look good, they said, oh, this is too complicated for us to figure out. We have to send you to the specialist. Baloney. The specialist ain't going to be able to figure it out either, because when you do standard tests for something like this, they either come back. I mean, there's no other testing to do. There's none. There's none. And this is why the medical system is broken, and this is why in the province of Alberta, you're spending 47% of the budget on to prop up the healthcare system. 47% of the money that they take from your paycheck for medical, for healthcare, 47% of that money goes to prop up 100% of. I don't know how they calculate in Canada what percentage of your tax goes to medical bills, but in the greater picture, it's 47% of tax revenue goes towards medicine, and this is exactly why. Because these tests are expensive. Now, thank God you're in Canada, because had you gone to the United States and you went at the end of the month, which we're at, they would have done 3 CT scans instead of 1. They would have done 5 blood panels instead of 1. They would have jacked the bill up as much as they possibly could, and they would have done all kinds of crazy stuff. I mean, and you just got to trust me from experience. I know what I'm talking about because I've seen it thousands of times. So this is why there's such a problem. And then they overlook the obvious. Well, geez, I'm on a high blood pressure medicine, and they just increased the dosage, and they switched the medicine. So the first thing I'm going to think about is it's the reaction to the high blood pressure medicine. So now, and also remember, Carol, that one of Dr. Wallach's lawsuits against the Food and Drug Administration was so that we can say that essential fatty acid supplementation virtually eliminates the risk of stroke. So, and you might want to reference the webinar that I did on essential fatty acids. You might want to reference the webinar that I did on essential fatty acids because it walks people through that lawsuit. So if you're worried about stroke, all you need to do is make sure you're taking your essential fatty acids every day, and you're virtually going to eliminate the risk of it. But what is a potential problem here is the prescription med. Check it out, Carol, and call us back. We're out of time right now. I'll catch you on the flip side. Stay tuned, folks. Man, oh man, oh man, I just never want to interrupt Carlos. I don't know, I just never want to interrupt Carlos Santana. If anybody knows Carlos Santana, he needs to call this show. If anybody knows any rock and roll legend, they need to call this show because these people are going to suffer and die needlessly. Their last half of their lives, the last 10, 20 years of their lives are going to be crap. All of the positive things that they did for us with music and, bringing up a whole generation of people, which is basically what they did. We need to help them. We need to help them back because just like everybody else, they have been completely gamed and played by the pharmaceutical industry. They've been played big time by the pharmaceutical industry. And the problem with this is the more money that you have, the worse it goes for you. Because you have most awesome medical insurance, and so the MDs are going to run that bill up, baby. They're going to run it up as high as they possibly can, delivering expensive, unnecessary, and ineffective diagnostic discovery and unbelievably dangerous medical therapeutics. If you're in the listening audience and you know anybody in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, call them up right now and have them call this radio show, and we will, do a little payback. Do a little payback. I think that's a good idea. In the meantime, though, let's go to Connecticut and talk to Donna about cholesterol. Hey, Donna, thanks for calling.
Hi, how you doing, Doctor?
Pretty good. What's up?
I have a friend who is suffering really bad with certain things. And he has, number one, he has high blood pressure. They say he has high cholesterol. He's on medication for both. He has diabetes. He has a shoulder that's really bad. It's his rotator cuff. He's in severe pain constantly. They want to do surgery, but he doesn't want surgery, which is a good thing. And last week, he got pain in his leg, and his leg gave out, and he fell down. He went to the doctor. The doctor told him it was a Charlie horse of all things.
Yeah.
Okay? So
how much does he weigh?
He weighs 100, and he said 178 pounds.
Well, so, you're a smart girl. This isn't rocket science. So is pain a function of his arthritic stuff? Is there any pain, or is it just kind of stiffness and immobility?
No, he has pain in his shoulder, really bad pain.
All right, so here's what we want to do. 2 healthy bone and joint packs. Okay, 2 healthy bone and joint packs. 4 bottles of selenium and 2 bottles of plant-derived minerals. So, yeah, I'll run it through you again. 2 healthy bone and joint packs. 4 bottles of selenium. That's S like Sam, E, L like Larry, E, N like Nancy, I-U-M. 4 bottles of selenium. And 2 bottles of plant-derived minerals. 2 bottles of plant-derived. And have him do that every month for 3 months, plus eliminate the 10 bad foods. He has to stop eating the food that's causing inflammation. Now,
Okay.
right, so he has to stop eating the 10 bad foods. Just stop it. He can do that today. And then once he gets the supplements, he just takes them every day. And this should be like watching ice melt in the springtime. Every 2 to 3 weeks, there should be a noticeable improvement. But caution him that this program has a high degree of likelihood to normalize his blood pressure. It has a high degree of likelihood to normalize his blood pressure within 90 days.
Okay.
So he needs to be taking his blood pressure daily at home.
Okay.
And once his numbers start to drop, he needs to go to a pharmacist and have them reduce his meds.
Okay.
Because if he doesn't, he runs the risk of having too low blood pressure, and that's dangerous, because if your blood pressure is too low, you can pass right out at the drop of a hat. So if he's measuring it and he's Johnny on the spot with the blood pressure, then it should be a slow slide into health. That's 2 healthy bone and joint packs, 2 bottles of plant-derived minerals, and 4 bottles of Ultimate Selenium every month for 3 months. Remember, it's an initial 90-day commitment before we can judge the program up or down. But once he gets results, and he might get results in 2 weeks, he might see a noticeable difference in 2 weeks. Once we get results, then we just maintain the discipline of the program until he's out of the woods completely with whatever his complaints are. So go get him, Donna. You're the best up there in Connecticut. And remember, it's on you, girl. You are the last best hope your community has to live a healthy and wealthy life. God bless you. Keep up the good work. And welcome to Longevity Nation. Ladies and gentlemen, back at 6 after the hour. Stick around.